Hello, welcome to Popalong RC, the RC car channel dedicated to RC car racing, and today we're going to see which one performs the best on the track. Will it be the TT01? Will it be the XV02RS Pro? Let's wait and see. And today we are talking Tamiya touring cars. Now, if you watched a recent video where I took out this car here, this is my TT01E and it has a broken chassis. I took it out, I raced it, and I managed to come home with the win. So I took it home, I ordered the parts to get it fixed up, but unfortunately they did not come on time, which means I thought I'd race it again. However, I knew that it was unlikely I'd be able to complete a full race meet with a broken TT01. And as I hadn't had the parts to fix it, what I thought I'd do is I'd get out this car here. Now this here is the XV02RS Pro. Fantastic rally car. But I want to run this on road, on carpet, as a touring car. Now, this went out for its first outing several weeks back when we popped over to Bed's Club, which runs on a Friday night. And although it's a really smooth drive, it was a pleasure to drive, actually. It was really smooth and consistent. It did have a slight issue, and that was it was really soft and it sort of wallowed around, which made it a little bit sluggish when it came to changing direction. It wasn't really responsive in the turns. Therefore, what I wanted to do is try and make it a little bit better so it was a little bit more competitive because, it was just a little bbit off the pace. As you can see here, I have got lots of different springs. Now, all of these springs fit the Racing 50mm shocks, and it allows me to adjust the setup for my Tamiya Minis, actually my TT01s, TT02s. Now, I recently featured on the channel this lovely looking car, and this is the Tamiya XV02RS Pro. Beautiful car. However, it wallowed around quite a lot on the track because the springs were just too soft. And as you can see here from these springs, sorry, I'm in the middle of charging at the moment. So as you can see here, these shocks are off the XV02, whereas these ones are all the shocks that I have. And I want to adjust the tension because obviously these ones are way too soft for what I want. Now, I was looking at buying some of these. However, if I wind down the collars like I have at the front here, all the way down to the bottom, I can run the shorter shock. So I'm going to set this up a little bit firmer than it is, and I'm going to do the same to the back. So I'm going to take these off and place some smaller ones in. As you can see, these are a lot thicker. And then I'm going to play around with the shock balance and see if I can get this on par with my TT01. So as you can see here, literally take the bottom off the shock, apply the new springs, pop it all back together, and we are good to go. What I did is I just adjusted the shocks there to make sure they're about the same length. Then I put them back on the car, set the ride height. Got to the MK Club this week, and obviously I had my two cars. I actually had my three cars because I also had with me my Formula 1 car. But my Formula 1 car wasn't alone this week. And then there were two, so we have now got two F104 Pros here at the club. Still not enough to run a class, but interest is growing. So this car here is the F104 Pro version 2. We've got e-tronic servo, and everything on here is as stock with the exception of the tyres. So we've got the turnbuckles there, we've got the TRF shock, the carbon plate here. I've added a Racing fan just to keep the motor nice and cool. I have ordered a new spur gear on 48 DP because this one is 64 and it is worn. So today I'm just going to run this car till it till that spur goes, and I'm going to take it out in practice a little bit later on. But we can take a look at this car, slightly different version. This is the Pro, and as you can see, it looks a little bit different. So we've got an alley shock in the middle there, but there's a lot more carbon fibre on this car. It looks like it's got a carbon shaft at the back there, carbon chassis. This is the standard plate at the back, and the wheels are very nice looking. I think this has just been a shelf queen up till now, but there is 2 F1 cars. When will there be more? Anyway, so because it's part of a race series, I had to run the TT01E because it's a TT01E class. So what I decided is, for practice, for the first couple of rounds of qualifying, I was going to run the XV02 because I only had to really put in one solid round with this car and then obviously run in the final for it to qualify. So therefore, I went out first of all with the XV02 and I put on the head cam so that I had some footage of this car going around. I did exactly the same when I was driving this car, and what I thought I'd do is I'd overlap the footage now so we could see the differences in the car. So I've lined up these clips so they start at the same spot. Now if we look at these cars over one lap, the TT01 was the quicker car. I think it might have had a little bit of pace on the straight, but where it made up most of the ground was through the tighter turns, and especially the little section where you have to, it's like a very slight chicane where it's sort of left, right, left. That is where the XV02 was really falling behind because it just couldn't shift its weight and change direction in the same way. I have to say, with the harder shocks on, it was a lot more drivable than it had been previously. So I'm really pleased with the progress of where this car has come on. If we look at this, these 2 cars actually over a couple of laps, you can see lap after lap the TT01 was the quicker. So if we actually have a look at some of the data, in qualifying I did 2 rounds with this car and I managed 19 laps on each. My best lap was a 15.3 with this car, which is quite a respectable time. However, running the TT01 in qualifying, so I ran this in round 3, I managed the extra lap, so I managed 20 laps with this car. It worked out to be a second a lap faster, so best lap with this one was a 14.5, and if I actually look at the best 10 average, again there was a second between it, and average overall was a second between them. So if we're doing 15-second laps, 19 laps, it is comfortably over a lap quicker on the track. So as you can see from the footage we're playing here and looking at the cars going, it's just taking a little bit out, a few meters every lap, but over 5 minutes, that is how you you sort of build a lap on another car. So really pleased with the TT01, really pleased with the XV02. I think there is more to come from this car. The problem I've got with this car, as soon as I do get it dialed in and it starts beating the TT01s, it's no longer a fair contest. So I'm going to take, I don't want to sort of push this car too much. It's a fun car to drive. At the moment, I like the fact it's not going to win any races because it's just not quite quick enough. Anyway, on to the final. So obviously last week I was able to win with this car with a broken chassis, and unfortunately this week the chassis decided it had enough, and I think I was about 16 laps into the race. I was coming up to lap second place, and I had the lightest of brushes with a back marker, and the wheel fell off. So the wheel fell off, the arms, so obviously we snapped the arm off of this one, we've buckled the arm on that, the dog bone fell off, this whole part just kind of came off. So unfortunately I was unable to finish the final, and it has forced my hand. So fortunately for me, my delivery has now arrived. I can get this car rebuilt, ready for racing. I think I'll probably have a week off racing this week, and I'll be back again in a couple of weeks' time. Can I get this car to catch up and compete with the TT01? Little mini side project for me. It's something I think I'm going to quite enjoy doing, because I do enjoy running this car, and providing nobody minds at the club, then I will carry on doing that. If anyone's got a problem with me running this, I'll just stick to running the faster car, which is my TT01. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been insightful to see the differences between these cars. If there's any other cars you'd like to see me put up against the TT01, I think I'm going to call this car here. This is kind of going to be the benchmark car for me, and I'm going to play around with a few of the Tamiya chassis to see how close to this car we can get them in terms of just running similar speeds and similar setups. Anyway, I'm waffling now. Like, subscribe, hit the old ding dong bell, and hopefully we'll see you in another video very soon.